Preston of Resource Maven. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in Toronto on the 29th day of February, as it turns out. Happy birthday to those leap year babies out there, I suppose. And I'm joined by Jay Paul of Sego Resources. Thanks for coming here today.
A real pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So Sego hasn't been at MIF before. Sego's a newer discovery of mine, testing the Miner Mountain project in southern BC. For a porphyry, and this is something that you've actually been doing down at Miner Mountain for quite a while, but there's been a recent evolution in your understanding of this opportunity. So take us through a little bit of the backstory, sort of like why you liked the project originally, and then we'll get into the new geologic idea.
Well, when I first met, I knew them, but when they first brought the project to me, two prospectors, they were two separate properties at a joint.
Right.
So they agreed to just go 50-50, put them together, because I didn't want half. I wanted the whole thing. And they've had those claims for years and years and years. Prior to that, it was always held in small claim groups. Right. Different owners. So nobody had done a full job on it.
Yeah.
So we acquired it and went through we have 3 questions. Is it really a porphyry? Sometimes you get false porphyries.
Yes.
Does it contain copper?
Yeah.
And can it make grade? Because if you don't have some high grades in it, it won't work, I don't think. So it answered the questions for us.
Right.
And we started work. Unfortunately, we hit our first 1% copper in November of 2008. Timing is everything.
Not ideal.
Our second 1% copper in 2012. We hadn't realized, because you get so mixed up in your own thing, that the whole market was coming down.
Sure, fair enough.
But we're back, and then in October of 2019, a good friend, Charles Funk, came to us, who we'd met in 2012 when he was with an Australian company that made an offer, which we didn't take, and we'd stayed friends, and he joined in with us. And we agreed that this Cuba zone that we were working on just wasn't hanging together. Working. So we also agreed we had a really good target very close by that we should drill, and brought in a world expert to look at it for us.
Right.
And to tell us how smart we were.
For changing focus to this new target. Right.
And he went through the drill core over several days in Princeton and came to us with a piece of core that's on our table and said, I've got some good news and bad news. The bad news is you're not moving. You're back at the Cuba zone. The good news is you've actually hit it, but you're too high on the system. You just need deeper drilling, and you've got great grades in it. Looks tremendous.
I mean, not a bad package to get, the good news and bad news. And I mean, this is a cool story. There's the one piece of core that you have there that shows the boundary in and of itself. So this is, porphyries come up, they have the mineralization in them. And then there's this story of descending fluids that actually stripped mineralization from part of the system.
That's right. And we have a model for that, which I didn't know until Alan told us. And that's New Afton, just 70 kilometers to the north of us. A beautiful mine. It makes money, it's good, it's well run, everything.
And it's similarly, the top few hundred meters are basically stripped because these descending cool fluids took the copper mineralization and stripped it out and left behind pyrite. But then once you get below it,
you're into very good grade. Sections of the original monzonite that's intruded run 2%, 1 to 2% copper, 0.5 to a gram of gold. So it's got really good grade that should be much larger down deeper.
So then let's talk about depth a little bit so people understand what you're talking about. How deep was it drilled? How deep have you drilled at this point, and what's your sort of target?
We drilled to nearly 300 meters, 1 or 2 places. Most of them are less than that.
Right.
The phyllic overprint on New Afton is 300 meters deep.
Right.
So we have the drill and the rods and everything are on the property now to drill to 700 meters. Right. And we can go deeper with this drill if we want to, but I think that's going to be sufficient.
Huh. And I mean, the grades you just mentioned, 1 to 2% copper with gold, porphyries of that caliber are very significant entities. That's why you've studied porphyries for a few years.
Well, I love porphyries because they're maddening in a way. Putting it all together, it's like being a detective. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
And in BC particularly, they're very, very faulted, which gave a nice plumbing system for it to work.
Sure.
But it moves things around, so they're very challenging, and I enjoy that. But with block caving, like they're doing at New Afton, you go underground for these richer porphyries. And we're on a hilltop, so going underground, like Red Chris, will eventually go underground as well. And GT Gold is blessed as well with the elevated topography, basin, so they can go in underground very easily. They're not going to loop around and go way down.
And I mean, at the end of the day, if you have that kind of grade and a porphyry that has scale, there's a huge amount of value in that entity if it's there and you can delineate it.
Yeah, and this is only one of 8 targets. I should mention that. With the alkalic porphyries, it's like Charles defines it. The regular calc-alkalic are like a fried egg. You've got an alteration zone, the white around it. The yolk is the ore body.
The good stuff.
The alkalic porphyries are like a fried egg with numerous yolks. Each yolk is smaller than the big yolk you get in the alkalic, but together they give you you can get a huge deposit. We're lucky because we're 15 kilometers from a producing mine. And that kind of grade would really sweeten things up for them, and they're good people and everything at the Copper Mountain Mine. So the scale may not be as necessary as it would be if you were building your own mill.
Sure, yeah. Well, at this point, we don't need to worry about a mill. We just need to worry about hitting solid porphyry mineralization in a 700-meter hole. And that's about to get underway.
That's about to get underway. We had planned to be underway, but after Alan gave us that information, we looked at our data and realized over the years we've been drilling. We've been doing more thin section work, and in the last couple of years, staining for potassium feldspars, which are really important to the mineralization. So there was different names on some of the alteration. So we had Stuart Harris and Ron Britton go up and relog all of our core.
Oh, gosh.
All the 41 holes we've drilled previously, so that we can put together a model, sections, everything's called the same.
Perfect.
So if everything works out, we do hit, we can just plug it into the model rather than...
Yeah, and be ready to rock.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing the results of those holes. I'm sure you do as well.
Thanks very much. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it.
I can tell. Thanks.
Thank you.